We are so excited. So many people signed up to speak. We have 76 people who signed up to speak. So we are going to drop the time to 90 seconds. We know, so if you're sitting in your seat waiting for your turn, please prep your comments for 90 seconds. And at 8 p.m. we will still drop down to a minute. We would want to hear from everyone. So we're going to call 5 people to come to the stand with the microphones, and then we'll call 5 people from Zoom to raise your hand, and people will promote you. We're going to start with in-person, and our apologies for the way that the data was collected. We don't have your name, we have your email address. So the first 5 people, you can come up, is Healthy 1668, I'm not going to read the end, Kevin Watts, the Chinatown Core, this person's twice, Thomas, New York, Emily Jacoby, and Edward Cuccia. You guys can sign up. I'm going to call the first 5 Zoom people. You can raise your hand, and our team will be promoting you, but you'll go after these speakers. Laura Tenenbaum, Thomas Altman, Yuki Washishiro, Kathy, New York, and J.S. Gallery Info. Okay, so again, you have 90 seconds, and we will start with Jan. You're
Healthy is another person.
Okay, who is Healthy?
That's Eleanor.
Eleanor. All right, Eleanor, you're first. And when you're done, we'll give you a 10-second warning, so look to us. Thank you.
Well, I just want to say that my friend Callie said that she can give me her time.
1 minute.
1 minute.
I signed up for it. I wanna
Signed
give it
up.
to her. We'll call her when it's her turn.
My name is Eleanor.
I think she wants her minute.
She's taking the other woman's minute, that's why.
Well, if the other woman,
If the other person signed up, we can, she'll just get her minutes her turn.
Hi, my name is Eleanor. I've been living in Chinatown and working in Chinatown for 30 years. So my office is right at the corner of Canal and Mud Street. And the big bank, and my desk is right in front of Canal Street. Every day I walk across Canal Street, so I have witnessed a lot of what's going on there. And the tragedy that happened last time recently, even though it has something to do with the intersection of the Manhattan Bridge and Canal Street, but the major reason is the driver was drunk, and she was being detained before. She had other accidents before, but the city does not let her out. So this is a major reason that caused the tragedy. And also, actually those 2 victims are related to my company. One works for my main office as a mortgage officer, and the other is our client. So you can see how sad we are, okay? And I think the plan, of course I understand DOT want to improve the traffic safety. However, some of the solution does not work well for our community. For example, like narrowing of Canal Street is going to be really congestion for the traffic from Manhattan Bridge to Holland Tunnel. And then widening
Thank you very much.
So I spent all night doing this, and
Thank you. We also will be taking, thank you so much. And then we have Kevin Watts.
Hi, thank you everyone. This is Kevin Watts. I've been a resident of Lower Manhattan for almost 9 years now. I'm a frequent user of Canal Street for transit, for work and shopping. I work in my day job in renewable energy projects, big projects, wind turbines, solar farms. And I just want to say that to the DOT, it is a great step to begin this redesign process, and I would encourage only to step further into it, to become bolder with the idea of making Canal Street a place, not just a conduit for traffic and for the kinds of safety hazards that we've seen in the presentation proceeding, and to make it a place that can address the needs of all the neighborhoods that it touches. It touches more neighborhoods potentially than any avenue in the city. In my line of work, in large energy projects and aerospace in which I used to work, if there is a product or a project that has 100 crashes per year, that produces 2 fatalities per year, that produces the level of destruction that the current design of Canal does, we stop that product. We stop that project. We redesign it. And so I encourage the DOT and the communities to come together for an even bolder redesign. Thank you.
The Chinatown Core. Dan.
Hi, thank you, community boards, and thank you to our elected officials for taking the time with us today. I want to say something that I learned today, that I hope that the organization Transportation Alternatives that keeps invoking the name of May Kwok either stops doing it or at least invokes the name of the other Chinese woman in our community who lost her life to a bicycle rider. If you're going to invoke our names in Chinatown, you do it equally the way that we do, because it shouldn't matter how you were killed before you invoke the names every time you appear before an audience. But I want to say
Yes,
that
yes.
when I was 14 and a half years old, I used to walk from Mott Street to Canal Street to the A train to get to LaGuardia High School in Harlem. And I would walk back the next day. I would get my hot dog and my egg cream in Dave's Corner, and I did that for 4 years without incident. My sister did it 10 years before me. The Canal Street that I knew is not the Canal Street that we have today, and it's amazing that we could sit through a presentation like that and make believe that Canal Street looks the way it does without showing the illegality, the crime, the violence, and everything that causes sidewalks to be impassable. Why is that not being represented here? And I think that that is something that is absolutely intolerable. So as much as the research that you're doing and the fact that you show so many people who are for this plan, show the reality of what's happening. I talked to Alvin Bragg and I said that we need to have a multi-jurisdictional cooperation, and we are not getting it. So I mentioned it at CCBA. You guys didn't bring any evidence that you have done the work, even since the CCBA meeting. That again is disgraceful. Do not come to our community until you have shown us that you have done the work interagency before you pour concrete into the sidewalk.
Every time we applaud, we take time away from the public speaking. Thomas, New York.
Yes, I'm here. Hi, I'm Dr. Thomas Chen, and I have practiced medicine on Canal Street for more than 32 years. Under the DOT plan, all parking spaces on Canal Street from Broadway to Elizabeth Street will be removed, and only 2 active traffic lanes will remain. There are hundreds of restaurants, stores, and many banks in Chinatown, as well as hundreds of medical offices along Canal Street. If all the parking spaces on Canal Street are removed, we are very concerned where the food and good delivery truck will unload, and where all the band and jewelry on a vehicle will deliver cash into a variable, and where will ambulance drop off my patient. Remember, we have hundreds of medical offices on Canal Street who rely on wheelchair and walkers. Are you asking to walk like a few blocks crossing the Canal Street? And if all these people are forced to stop and operate in an active traffic lane, so Canal Street will effectively be reduced to a single working traffic lane in each direction. That will create severe congestion on Canal Street, spilling over to the Harlem Tunnel, Manhattan Bridge, and surrounding side street. As a result, the traffic flow the air will be totally paralyzed. That will be detrimental to the entire neighborhood, not just the Canal Street, and can lead to a major economic disaster for China and Little Italy. Before considering sidewalk widening, ensuring sidewalk properly managed, according to the Hester study conducted in 2010, there are too many illegal and legal vendors obstructing the Canal Street sidewalks. Minimum 8-foot clear pedestrian pathway must be maintained to keep pedestrians safe. In addition, I would consider adding Central Island and installing a curb extension at the crosswalk, not the whole sidewalk expansion for pedestrian safety. Thank you.
Okay. Jazz hands, you guys. Before we get to our next 2 speakers in person, I would like, we're going to go to Zoom. Raise your hand if you haven't already been elevated. Laura Tenenbaum, Thomas Altman, Yuki Washishiro, Kathy, New York, and JS Gallery. Okay, and we're going to go to Emily Jacoby. Thank you.
My name is Emily Jacoby. I'm here representing Transportation Alternatives. with that. No lives should be lost on our streets. It doesn't matter by what mode, it doesn't matter by where.
Thank you.
This is a long-needed safety redesign, and I'm grateful to every single person in this room coming together to figure out the tactics that work best for this corridor. At Transportation Alternatives, we are advocating for curb extensions. We are advocating for delivery zones that work along Canal Street, specifically because we need to rebalance this street for pedestrians who DOT themselves designate as the primary users of this street. However, that does not mean that sidewalks don't matter, that don't need to be managed, that don't need to be upgraded and kept clear. Some of the hazards we've seen on Canal over the years have been box blocking by cars, have at all times of day, no matter what, have been ADA inaccessible sidewalks that no one can navigate, let alone someone getting off their car and up the street to their appointments. We need a comprehensive look at this corridor. We will find those solutions together, and I appreciate your time tonight.
And just, good job.
Oh, thank you.
Edward, I'm sorry, Edward, good job.
No problem. Hi, my name is Ed Kucha. How are you? First things first, I live on Canal Street. My wife and I live on the corner of Mulberry and Canal. We work there, we live there, and have done so for many years. I'm also a member of the Chinatown Bid, but I'm speaking in my personal capacity in that I fully, and my wife and I fully and completely oppose the redesign that was expressed here today. And I can offer the reasons why for Dr. Thomas Chan, for what Chan said. We fully agree with that. But in a more of a global capacity, I've been asked to speak on behalf of certain Little Italy groups, including the Little Italy Merchants Association, the Figli di San Gennaro, and other Little Italy folks who also do not agree with the redesign. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant day, everyone.
We're going to go online. We're going to start with Laura Tenenbaum and go from there. And Thomas Altman, Yuki Washishiro, Happy New York, and JS Gallery, please raise your hands so we can elevate.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, my name is Laura Tenenbaum. I live in the neighborhood. I've lived in the neighborhood for more than 50 years. It's been close to 25 years since I was on a borough president task, Canal Street task force, headed by Sam Schwartz, trying to take care of some of the traffic and pedestrian issues on Canal Street. Clearly, it didn't happen then. And I'm hopeful that this will turn into something that's very positive for the neighborhood. Looking at this, and I just want to do some pinpointed comments. I think it's a good idea. I think it's needed. I had hoped by the time this was put into effect, we would have less cars coming through traffic, coming along Canal Street, and I think that's something that has to be worked on more to somehow cut the through traffic off. There's no reason through traffic should be in the central business district. That said, I do have some concern. I spent this afternoon, morning.
10 seconds, Laura.
Oh, sorry, that's all I'm going to say then. I'll send everything else tonight. Thank you.
So next is Thomas Altman. Do we have anybody on deck? I am not allowed to the Zoom. Is anyone on deck? Ready to go? Okay, if not, we're gonna go back to in person, if that's okay. Four people have their hands up. Please elevate the people who've raised their hands. If there are. Okay, if you guys could sort that out, we're going to go back to in person while we figure this out. Please come up to the microphones. Amy Lynn, 33 Happy Michael Hassan, AW2312, which is an NYU one, and Sean Sweeney. Okay. Amy, why don't you go ahead? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amy Lim Kuchir, and my husband and I live in Little Italy and Canal Street. We are like Little Italy and Chinatown connected. My husband and I totally disagree with the redesign because I don't think this is helping Chinatown at all and helping Little Italy. So we disagree with the redesigning. Thank you.
33 Happy, is that anyone here?
It's on Zoom.
Oh, Kathy Chan is on Zoom?
Yes.
She's there.
I saw her there on Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
somebody answer.
Hi, why don't you go ahead, please? You have 90 seconds. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patty Chan. I've been living and working in the area of Canada for over 45 years, and I still have a lot of relatives, friends living in the area, and I knew many merchants, stores, restaurant owners, grocery supermarkets, they totally oppose the plan because it is not a good plan. Please have the community and we actually consult the local restaurant residency instead of put aside in front of the PRC food. The PRC food, they put aside as for visitors. They are not represent Chinatown. Please totally oppose the plan. Please come to the community and do a market survey, not just put aside on the corner of the street, ask those outside people. And also, please just accept the crosswalk instead to accept the whole sidewalk. And totally, what will happen if there's an emergency vehicle? You can subsidize the whole Chinatown area people and also the people all the way to PQD and the Manhattan Street. How can those emergency vehicles accept
10 seconds left.
all the area? Please take the consideration and consult everybody in the area, not outside.
Thank you. Michael Hassan.
Hey, my name is Michael. I live in CB1. I work at CB3. My office is entrance is on Canal Street. It's Canal Hudson. I walk and bike to work. I don't use Canal Street because the conditions there are not hospitable to human life. So I use shortcuts, detours. I'd love to use Canal Street or the Grand Street bike lane. I think that's a great plan too. Every time I cross the street to try to get to work, I imagine to myself that this might be the last time I do so, because I'll get hit by a driver and not be able to walk anymore. I'd urge the DOT to accelerate the plan. We've been waiting for this redesign a very long time. I'd love to see us start as early as possible and continue to collect feedback and do upgrades as time passes, but I feel like beginning next summer is too long to wait for these critically necessary upgrades. Thank you.
Very efficient. And NYU email? What's your name?
Hi, my name is Alex Wong. My family has roots in Chinatown, and my grandmother lives in Chinatown, 90-year-old grandmother, and I've worked and lived and gone to school in CB1 and 2. I'm strongly in support of the proposal by the DOT, and I urge it to be done as quickly as possible. My grandmother who lives in Chinatown has a heart condition, and it's very difficult for her to walk quickly and needs to be supported. And I fear for her safety when she's out on the street. I think that I really support having hardened daylighting and curb sections and pedestrian barriers to help support safety. And I'm really concerned for the safety of the elders in the neighborhood. And again, there were almost nearly a death a year since 2014, with an average age of 75, which is even younger than my grandma's age. So I really support the proposal.
JS Gallery, Doris Lynn Cohen, Mon Welch, and Michael Brin.
It's too many names for me to promote.
They should raise your hand if I call your name, and then you will be elevated. Thank you. Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. My name's Sean Sweeney. I'm the director of the Soho Alliance, a volunteer community group, unlike some of the paid lobbyists who are here tonight. I think basically on the west side, the Hudson Square Soho part is pretty good, but I just question, if you're going to cut off northbound on West Broadway and Green, how are they going to get into Soho? They're going to have to go up Spring and drive around. I think you're making more traffic than you really need to. But overall, I don't think the plan is good. Why? Because if you build it, they will come. Build what? Extend the sidewalk, remove a parking, driving lane, and who will come? The illegal peddlers who have been taking over the streets for the last year. So you're just inviting trouble. Canal Street was paved over in 1820. We got along for 200 years, fine, without it being extended. The Holland Tunnel was built in 1920. Traffic has moved along. All of a sudden, we have to reduce the traffic, the flow of traffic. I mean, I don't own a car. I'm not invested in this, but it's not a smart idea. And as far as the Walker Street extension, well, if you close that, cars going down Walker Street, where are they going to go? They're going to have to they'll create more congestion trying to get onto Canal Street. And with all respect, you said it was a success. I looked at it closely, and your little chairs there, your little chairs, and no one was sitting in the chairs. That was the problem. No one wants to sit in Canal Street.
Thank you. We are going to go to Zoom. Has anyone raised their hand?
Yes.
Okay. We'll just go with the first person whose hand's raised. Is that Aura Rosenberg? Go ahead, Aura. 90 seconds. You're muted. You need to unmute.
I lived on Canal Street for 50 years. I was actually the one running a truck at the intersection of Canal and Mercer a while back. And I'd like to say a few things. I don't know how I know about this specific proposal, but regarding pedestrian congestion, it's the vendors. A number of people have said that. It's the vendors. You enlarge the sidewalk, you're going to give them more room for their displays. The police completely turn a blind eye to it. They do a little theater, they send to the newspapers, round people up, the next day they're not there. If you want to get pedestrian congestion down, you have to get rid of the vendors. Secondly, and just enlarging the sidewalk is just going to make more vendors. I would think maybe if we did Canal Street, put a really strict down the middle, I haven't heard anybody mention that. Secondly, the car and truck congestion. What about that Arizona bridge with tolls in both directions? People just use the miles out to save money. You want to cut down on traffic, you've got to look at that situation as well. So I think that you're talking a lot about cosmetics.
10 seconds.
Yeah, and you're not going to make it any safer. This has nothing to do with safety.
Yes.
Do we have another hand raised? Claudia Vargas Decker, please.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for being in the program. I've done understand what everybody's getting the car traffic on Canal Street is possible. As regular people in this public space, most places are used to the residents or the taxpayer, most drivers are not. Now, the project is not a business enough, and it's not that it will become a bicycle project will increase in the future due to climate change. The actual plan is not satisfying future needs. Now, in the end, any bike has to be protected. Otherwise, cars will continue to stop leader in the parking space, putting bikers in danger, making us go cycle or destroying traffic. There should also be 5 to 10 bike drivers per street. There are usually at least 50 parking spaces per street. Bikers are not second class citizens. We don't pollute. One car parking space represents at our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I won't see the name. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I heard before about that many years ago when our children were young, they talked about the pollution caused by the trucks going across Canal Street, which has not gotten better, and there's got to be another route for trucks. This doesn't seem to address the fact that we need fewer cars and trucks on Canal Street. And the other thing I have to say is you can just, we've been waiting so long for this. I remember another meeting, it was more than 10 years ago, we said that the people who live here, I've lived on Canal Street for 50 years. If you just put some traffic cops on the intersection and stop cars from stopping in the intersection and stopping in the crosswalk right now, you can do that next week, and it would help.
Okay. Thank you. Is that it for Zoom at the moment?
No, there's one more.
Okay.
Christopher Saunders.
Christopher Saunders, you're highlighted now. Please go, 90 seconds.
Yes, ma'am. So, thank you, everyone. I just wanted to speak out in support of this plan by DOT. You know, I realize that the sidewalk is completely taken up by fingers and I get up to everyone else. But I'm happy with the bike lane treatment. I'm kind of glad it's not going directly on Canal Street for most of it. So I think that was good. And then, you know, cyclists are going to use the sidewalk if they don't if they don't have the bike lane, and I need them to go on the bike lane. And yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. But overall, this is a good start, and then we can get some data, and then we can revise what the doc has here after it's been tested. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine Schubert. Catherine, are you there?
I am. So, where to start from here? I would like to say that on behalf of all the people who live in this area for over 30 years, yes, we are the experts to be women first, though. This plan, of course, we need to protect bicycles, but when I'm looking at it, and I'm a bicyclist and a car owner, live on Merritt Street between Watts and Graham. Have you even been down here to that one? I mean, the west side lane coming down there, where you're going to hit Watt Street, people can just drive down. They're not supposed to turn into tunnels, but they often will. And then you're going to come, the two other lanes, just flying down to get to Canal Street, and you think this is a good way to shift the bicycle from Lake Street over to Grand, and then take away Grand Street from us? Like, where are we going to be able to turn to get to our building? If we can't turn on to West Broadway, can't turn on to Green Street, I want there to be the safety for the bicyclists, that this is ridiculous, and we do need to start ticketing these people who are creating these traffic problems. And also, one last thing. Those people coming down the West Side Highway on their bicycles are riding on bikes, which is not legal, and it's not safe, and it's going to become less safe.
10 seconds.
Okay, I'm done.
Thank you. We're going to go back to people in the room. I'm going to call the names. Elle Cameron, Catherine Freed, Shifue Young, Agni Y. Watchin, and Shinosh One. If you guys can line up, we'd appreciate it. First up is Elle Cameron, and please say your full name.
Awesome, thank you so much. I was really excited to come tonight because I live right off the Canal in Hester, and I'm very excited about what I think is a redesign primarily across Canal on Bowery, right by the Manhattan Bridge, and I think I learned during COVID, where I spent a lot of time over there, that it's one of the hardest for New York
Thank you. Catherine Freed?
Thank you. Yeah, my name's Catherine Freed. I used to be a council member downtown. I've lived and worked downtown for over 50 years. I'm glad that people are looking at this, but I'm not sure this plan is practicable. And the bottom line is, first, it's been said before, you need more enforcement. You have to get the illegal vendors off of Canal Street so people can walk on it. And if you slow down the traffic, which this will do, all that means is more of the traffic will go to more of the side streets. And you'll have more pollution, more congestion, and still continue to have problems with them. I think you cannot do this plan piecemeal. I think you have to look at the entire street pattern downtown and the area around Canal Street and figure out a way to make all the streets work so that you can still get people across town or make them go around. But, you know, we've had problems with pedestrians downtown for a long time. We need more enforcement there. I think the idea of putting a cop on every corner, or at least a TEA, is probably, unfortunately, a good idea, and maybe the only thing that's going to actually get people across the street safer. Either that or you bring those railroad arms down and you stop traffic so that people can walk. But frustrated drivers don't stop. They speed up to try and make the lights. So I suggest you go back to the drawing board and look at it and look at a comprehensive plan. Thank you.
We're watching here. Thank you very much. We have heard a lot of really, really good ideas over here. And they pretty much say, this plan stinks. This is all nonsense, because it is a luxury plan you've got. Not for the people who are working, not for the people who have to go to the doctors, not for the people who need to be able to get their deliveries into their stores. All those vendors are threatening. They're not even just a nuisance and illegal, but they are threatening our pedestrians, threatening them. There have been more crimes because of that. We need to have the people, the solutions of having the traffic cops, you can call them whatever you want, your traffic associates, because those will help. And to bring up a clock, as Jan said before, without saying that this was a crime. This was not just an accident, it was a crime with people with a stolen car, with weapons, with drugs, who are barreling down at such a speed it was horrific. Those are things that this plan will never address. You're dancing around and saying it will address it, it will not, and so you're lying to us. Fix it, fix this plan. This plan must be a lot better so that we have the people who will help us and help our community, not kill it.
Are you Shane Young?
Yeah, Shane Young.
Okay.
I believe what is happening here is unprecedented. The Canal Street redesign, Chinatown connections, the mega jail, and the rebuilding of 7 Mulberry Street are all scheduled to overlap. This is an extraordinary cluster of simultaneous construction projects, concentrated in one of the city's most fragile small business districts. No other neighborhood in Manhattan has been asked to absorb this level of disruption at once. A major contributor to sidewalk crowding is the lack of enforcement on vending regulations, both licensed, unlicensed, legal, illegal. If DOT admitted that as the real cause, the solution would require enforcement, not the removal of lanes or the creation of super sidewalks. DOT frames this redesign as necessary for safety and reducing crossing distance. But those issues can be solved by curb extensions, pedestrian islands, and signal time changes, all tools DOT currently uses throughout the city, without eliminating lanes. Lane removal here is not a necessity, but a policy choice. This redesign feels more like an ideological goal of shifting Canal Street away from vehicles entirely, rather than addressing the operational realities and practical needs of this community. DOT can also alleviate delivery congestions by simply adjusting parking regulations and enforcing them to unloading hours in the morning. Chinatown and Little Italy rely on deliveries as well as accessibility for seniors and customers who come here from all over the region. The goal should be to support the economic life of the community. We need practical, targeted solutions to reduce sidewalk crowding, improve safety, and ensure deliveries and accessibilities remain intact. Instead, this redesign, combined with years of overlapping construction, is likely to increase congestion, complicate deliveries, and make the neighborhood less accessible to the people and businesses who depend on it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to hand it over to Vinny, who's going to take over for calling people. We'll start with 5 people on Zoom. If everyone who wants to speak on Zoom, just raise your hand. We will elevate you in the order your hands are raised, because we don't have, it doesn't seem to be working the other way. And I'll take the first 5 hands that are raised on Zoom. Thank you.
Hi, I just wanted to add that something that we keep taking into account is scooter, bikes, electric scooter, and electric bikes. There should be things for those that can be listed by people have the right to choose from local transportation, and there should be some public space for them as well. We're all citizens, we're not citizens, so those are all priority cars. Thank you so much.
Do we have other hands up?
Yeah,
Adam?
Yeah, thanks. Good evening. I work in the Riverside, and good afternoon to speak. I'm very in strong support of the proposed street redesign and narrows, good points, and expand sidewalks. And I'm coming at this from the annual division document that was made in 2014. I was supposed to get my car while driving the bike, so I feel pretty strongly on this. So over the past year, the city's shown the same pattern as the nation, that crashes concentrate on wide, fast corridors, where people walking and not lose protection. So narrowing streets and accounting for this, enlarging streets through structural change will address that issue and hopefully reducing fatalities. That's one really important. Any fatality is a mistake and should be viewed that way. So since the launch of Vision 0 in 2013, there's been some success with the gains of accountability across all communities, and addressing large corridor and canal address some of the things that have shown the data for the reduction of accidents and bikes. So structural factors, structural change that ensures sustained change, and one factor shown is that uptake in pedestrian deaths in front of the porch that we still have a lot of progress to make. So narrow lanes, reduce speed, ability of someone of a collision to fatal. So, really in favor of improvements that make the street feel like a place for people and not just
Thank you. Next up is Michael Silver.
Hello. My name is Michael Silver. I work at Redesign, again. I share a lot of the frustrating people that about enforcement of those traffic and vendors. When it goes to the, we had that with all over beyond that. I think it's great to reduce the car in there within that instead. So, in terms of the traffic contractor, the big one that I have in current from each but on which is a little bit ridiculous, and everyone you do that, but those people don't let them know.
Thank you.
Danielle Saunders. I can actually tell you what I love them. The main point
I'm sorry, we're still going. So we have.
Not clear. 5 seconds.
Understood.
The big point is the left turn into Soho. This is a huge problem. We won't be able to get home time to get a car. I mean, enforcement, sure, all these issues, but I think that's the issue we didn't come to.
Thank you. Tommy Lou?
Thank you. I live on a brand in the FDR Drive, and we already suffer from bumper to bumper traffic, both on the FDR Drive, northbound and southbound, due to congestion pricing and the FDR Drive being a free zone to the Brooklyn Bridge. Any plan which diverts more traffic to Grant Street would make our life more miserable, increase the pollution in our community, and add to the additional pollution we're already getting from congestion pricing. I looked today at the MTA's data, and traffic has not been reduced due to congestion pricing. In fact, it's increased in some cases. So I would like to know, where can I get the actual current data of crosstown traffic from the Manhattan Bridge to the Holland Tunnel prior to congestion pricing and currently right now? Because I think that has to drive this plan enormously. Because to the gentleman before, creating a better path for pedestrians and bikes on Canal Street may make life much worse on the
10 seconds.
Street, which will make pedestrians much less safe as drivers try to negotiate the very narrow streets of Chinatown, Soho, and the Lower East Side. Thank you.
And Daniel's son?
I don't know why my name has changed, that's, I have no idea why I'm saying Daniel's son. My name is Rachel Wilkinson, and I know how to speak, but that's just so weird. My name is Rachel Wilkinson, I'm married to a partner for one, who cares deeply about making our sidewalk safer for all neighbors. I'm thrilled to see the proposed Purpose Avenue sidewalk extension, state bike connections, and traffic calming measures. We really can't afford to wait any longer. But we need more. That means more loading zones, more turn calming, and more reduction to only 2 travel lanes going in and out of the tunnel. Canal sidewalks and curbs must all be ADA accessible to full length this corridor. The basic Manhattan Bridge is a comprehensive safety plan to improve the terrifying intersection where anyone walking by can tell that life how dangerous it is, and where 2 people lost their lives in a senseless and avoidable crash this summer. That could have been any one of us. And if nothing is done, it will definitely happen again. The highest priority is that intersection along Canal Street should be safety and traffic calming. Curb extensions for daylighting and having barriers to be implemented everywhere. We need to prioritize safety and visibility over the needs of car owners who are in the minority compared to pedestrians in this area and folk alone do not live here. But even if they did, it still wouldn't be okay for them to regularly mow us down and moving their way across town. Locals are very responsive to negative environmental health and safety outcomes because a lot of them stand up for worse car owners. We can't wait 4 years for clean dollars. We need a redesign and get it passed. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go for 5 more in the house here. Chinochi 1, SG 170A, Wilkerson. Thank you. The next one is Chillow 12, Dan Miller Lists, and Andy Penn. We're also going to go for Liam Jeffries. Chinoche 1. You can just pronounce also your name too.
Chinoche 1 is illegally. I'm a long-time resident of Canal Street, and actually, for this particular school, I helped participate in getting the school built in the 1970s with Judy Gordon-Jacobs. I don't know who she was, a folk singer on WBI radio. But anyway, I just want to point out that the plan itself being proposed will have negative consequences for our community in Chinatown, especially our businesses. It's going to restrict our ability to deliver goods, and parking, of course, is going to be an issue for many those who park and drive in and shop in the community. It would have negative consequences and would destroy businesses if this goes into effect. And of course, that eliminates the tax base, and it's going to ruin the community if this takes place. I think there's better alternatives, obviously, in terms of operating with cars. I think it's a national issue. We should have electric cars, and we don't have electric cars, we have electric trucks. I've been in China, and they do have that. This shows you the role of the Communist Party doing the right thing, as opposed to some of the nonprofits over here. One claim to be an environmentalist, and I don't know what they're doing in terms of environmentalism that's happening in the United States. So those questions have to be addressed, but this particular plan is not going to address the congestion issue or the
This issue is very personal for me. I have a recurring medical appointment on Center Street, close to Canal, and so I'm in the neighborhood frequently. To get there, I bicycle, and I'm usually walking around after that. So it's really important to me that we keep pedestrian and cyclist safety at the forefront of this plan, and not just safety, but comfort. That means shortening crossing distances, which is a great way to make intersections safer, but also just more pleasant. New York is a walking city. This is a city where most people get around on foot, via transit, or via bike most of the time. Cars are a marginal mode, especially in a super dense area like Canal Street, and they don't deserve as much space as they have. Instead, we need to use that space more effectively and more efficiently with wider sidewalks, with treatments that make being a pedestrian more pleasant and more accessible. The sidewalks on Canal right now are seriously overcrowded. It feels like you're in a traffic jam walking down the sidewalk, and that's because there isn't enough space for the volume of pedestrians. So we need to bring in more wider sidewalks, and I support this plan, and I hope that it gets implemented quickly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anna Goldstein. I'm a resident of Chinatown, and I shop and cross Canal Street very often. I oppose this redesign of Canal Street. I think there is no need for super sidewalks, and instead what's needed is the enforcement of laws against the illegal vendors, because the sidewalks on Canal by Chinatown are already quite wide. I also oppose the reduction of lanes on Canal Street. I urge the keeping of the parking lanes for deliveries, for loading, for handicap drop-offs, and emergency vehicles, which are absolutely necessary. If needed, at the corners, there can be street markings to shorten the crossing distance for pedestrians. Actually, I am more fearful of scofflaw cyclists than I am of cars, because I can see the cars and they are not zipping in and out and speeding. And I also think that the survey responses are not reflective of the community. So please,
Can I just get your email too? Sorry. We just want to make sure we got the right speaker.
SD170A.
Perfect, thank you. And we'll go with you, sir.
Thank you for holding this meeting. My name is Chi Lo. I have worked in the neighborhood, Chinatown, Soho, and Lower East Side for over 30 years. And recently I have retired, and I still volunteer in the community. About a year and a half ago, I was hit by e-bike, and I flew 10 feet onto the street. So lucky, fortunately, I'm still alive. Thank you. I'm a driver, I'm a bicyclist, and I'm walking slower than before. This is with heavy hearts that May and Kevin were killed by the DWI driver. This reactive and reimagined plan to provide safety will be at risk of hurting the community and the general public. The reduction of driving lanes and parking spaces will cause more harm to the business and loss of jobs. Business need delivery spaces. Chinatown is a natural retirement community. Many families come to visit their parents and take them out for outings. My second point is the expansion of the sidewalk is another ill-advised plan. Okay? The more you create, the more illegal vendors will occupy. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is James Jeffries. I'm a lifelong Manhattan resident, and I'm here to express my strong support for this plan. Canal Street and the area around it has long been, first and foremost, pedestrian and cyclist areas. The vast majority of residents here are free and walk, bike, or use transit from any of the 11 subway lines that serve it. An extremely small fraction of area residents and customers using Canal Drive. Considering this current situation on Canal is untenable and dangerous for the majority of its users to a despicable degree. We've already heard how packed sidewalks are, and quite frankly, even before defenders blamed for this were there, sidewalks were also already packed. And a big contributing factor to this is these sidewalks are much smaller than the other streets in Manhattan budget. If you go to Boston or any of the major crosstown streets in Midtown, you will not see sidewalks this narrow. To simply bike on Canal involves a level of personal risk unacceptable to foist on a New Yorker, and with all due respect to how these cycles are commonly presented, including tonight, their lives and rights as New Yorkers, as New York Street users, matter just as much as everyone else's, and any statement that tries to imply otherwise is morally repugnant. This is an unacceptable situation, and we simply cannot afford to wait any longer to do something, not when the level of risk for most of its users is this stark, and not when willful inaction is killing another New Yorker. This needs to happen now, and I encourage swift action on it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We're going to go back to folks on Zoom, but we know there are more people that want to speak on Zoom, but you don't have your hands up. You can put your hands up. We will call on the first 5 that put their hands up. But we're going to shift to the in-person now, back again. But again, if you're on Zoom, put your hand up so we can call you after we go through 5 more folks in-house here. Next one is Andy Head, Bill Ferns, Bill at WB Arc. Do the hustle now. Azor 7985. And Alan Eric View. I love these emails, so thank you for all.
Anyway, I live in CD2, I've worked and taught in CD1, and walked across Canal Street for over 40 years. I know firsthand how Canal Street is dangerous, and it's only gotten more so in the amount of time that I've lived here in Gloucester, walked my kids to school, went to work, And the thing is that there are 3 times as many pedestrians using Canal Street, and yet 90% of the space is allocated to vehicles. So you end up creating a 7-lane highway when the majority of people that use that street are walking. Not even cycling, and I'm a cyclist, and I'm not going to cycle on Canal Street because it's so damn dangerous. So I really support this plan, and I think that widening the sidewalks is not such a big deal when it comes to people's safety. I've been on Canal Street walking with people that are in wheelchairs, and the sidewalks are a mess. There are so many holes in the sidewalk. When you try to cross the curbs, you can't even do that. So these are very small problems, and I think, as wonderful as this plan is, I think it has to happen sooner, especially if you can be doing things like putting those medians in the middle of the street. Elderly people can walk across the street much more easily. You can have seating along the way for elderly people. I think there's a lot to be done, and it can be done soon. Thank you.
Thank you. As close as you can to the microphone so everyone in the room can hear you. So please do that. I'll make sure I do that too as well. And folks who are online joining us on Zoom, please put your hand up. You know you want to speak. We're not seeing any hands, so please put up some hands. But if you, sir.
Thank you. My name is Bill Bialowski. I'm an architect. I've lived on Walker Street since 1989, and I work on Green Street between Canal and Grand for the last 30 years as well. Let me start by saying I appreciate the DOT making this effort to make Canal Street safer and beautify it. However, I think I have some serious concerns about it. My first is emergency access, reducing the Canal Street from 6 lanes to 4, and eliminating the left turns and stacking up the corners for the right turns on the Broadway are going to back up traffic. Traffic is not going to be more accessible. We are not going to be able to get emergency vehicles across town. It is one of the 2 only crosstown streets we have downtown. I think that you should reconsider the layout of this to go from 6 lanes to 5, leaving a middle lane open for emergency vehicles so that we can get back and forth. My second concern is really about Walker Street specifically. I represent the Walker Street Homeowners Association. The park we're making at the end of Walker Street is going to turn it into a parking lot. It already is. The left turn onto Center, the right onto Canal is going to make this incomprehensible. I think that if you're going to follow through with this plan, you need to look much deeper into the traffic patterns in Lower Manhattan. You'll need to return the left turns onto Walker, onto Green and West Broadway, or you're going to devastate traffic there, or eliminate the traffic all the way across Walker Street as well, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Cito, and I am a member of Families for Safe Streets. I became a member after my mom at 89.5 years old got hit by a turning SUV, and she died May of 2022. I work in Lower Manhattan. Sorry. I am supportive of the long overdue redesign of Canal Street. We need these changes now. We need hardened daylighting. We need traffic calming. We need curb extensions. It's really important for seniors, many of whom, they use this area as pedestrians for shopping, going to the doctor, visiting friends. I support this plan because we must prioritize safety on Canal Street. Sorry. We must act now so no one else is killed or seriously injured in a preventable crash like my mom was killed. I thank you all for giving me this time to speak.
Good evening. My name is Eric Yu. I'm a member of CB1, and I live in Southbridge Towers by the seaport. This plan is incredibly flawed. It doesn't consider the realities that Manhattan is an island. It's dependent upon movement of people and goods. The DOT has lost its focus. It doesn't account for capacity in transportation. For example, we have many events and festivals in Manhattan, Chinatown. What happens during the San Gennaro Festival? Think about the traffic, all the traffic that will back up. Think about we have construction on the Brooklyn Bridge. What's going to happen? Closing of Walker Street at the end, it will create congestion. It'll reduce the commerce that we have in Manhattan. It doesn't make sense. I challenge the DOT, improve safety, but do it without compromising transportation capacity. It's always easy to close a lane, but it doesn't really deal you're not dealing with solving a problem. You're just shifting it to something else. So instead of just closing a lane, reducing traffic capacity, making it more difficult to travel in Manhattan, improve safety, but do it without compromising the ability to move in New York City. Thank you.
Mr. Zuckerman, congratulations on the new gig. Buy your videos, you're going to find out one of these things. My name is Bill Ferns. I'm a member of SALT, which is the Senior Advocacy Leadership Team. We work out of Manning Cancer Center. We're over on Grand Street and East Broadway, farther east. But we're in the 10002 zip code. The zip code has approximately 40% more seniors than most New York City zip codes. People in the disability community tell me the same percentage. Canal Street is hostile to old people and people with mobility problems. I think if you look, the majority of the fatalities that occur in the area have been seniors because of traffic problems. So things have to change, and this is a plan in the right direction. A couple of things I'd like to point out that other people have said about the traffic will be pushed to nearby streets. Well, they said that about 14th Street when they did bus lane. They said it would make 15th Street and 13th Street terrible. Never happened. So it's important to point that out. A lot of the things that people complain about enforcement, you have to go to the 5th Precinct Community Council meetings to talk to them. Okay, about that. Whether it's the vendors, whether I'm a bike rider, but I also ride a bike, I have a car, and I also walk the streets. And yes, I do believe there could be more enforcement all around, but telling these folks about enforcement isn't going to make it happen. You have to show up at the community council meetings. And the last thing, real quick, is that I know the vendors are a problem, but if vendors are part of the system, people come, my family come from Dallas, Texas to come shop on the streets of Chinatown with the vendors, and then they want to eat. So be careful about getting rid of the vendors.
Thank you. Do we have Gene online? Gene?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you there and here?
Yes,
Amazing.
I couldn't wait. I'm a professional engineer, practiced in New York over 40 years. I know what DOT do. I specifically want to highlight the off-ramp from the Manhattan Bridge towards Bowery. There was a horrific accident that happened as late as July this year. I have a couple of specific suggestions of DOT. One, do a study to see what is the average speed of the off-ramp cars coming through both ways. Second, I want to suggest the DOT to install a couple of bumps and also install a speed camera to reduce the off-ramp speed down to 15 miles per hour and install speed camera because that will have automatic enforcement and that will every year, according to Chinatown Partnership, at least 4 people were killed on that off-ramp, all different ages, and I don't want to get specific, the last incident in July, so therefore, those are a couple of specific things. I wish DOT next time will come back to this community to address the off-ramp speeding accident rate, how to reduce it. And I gave you specific suggestions, and I'd like to have specific answers from DOT. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to switch in house right now, Ryder Kessler, and then we have Sue or Jessica Wong.
All right. Hi everyone, I'm Ryder Hester. I've lived in Manhattan for over 40 years. I just turned 40, so I'm finally able to say that. So I was looking forward to it. I'm a member of CB2, but just speaking as myself, in strong support of the plan, I think we know Canal Street needs fixes. It needs to be safer. We've had multiple people killed, dozens seriously injured, also lives shattered, hundreds injured over just the last few years. So we need these infrastructure changes to slow traffic and make Canal Street more equitable. In Assembly District 66, which is everything west of Broadway, only 5% of people commute to work by car. 65% are walking, biking, taking transit, and the rest are working from home. So we need to really serve everyone in the community. But on that note, I want to raise 3 things where I think there's particular attention needed. One of the big community concerns was bikes going the wrong way on the street. And I think we really need to make sure that we get bikes off the sidewalk and into protected bike lanes so that pedestrians are not threatened and injured or killed by bikes. I think the second thing is the vendors. There's a package of bills in the council right now. I don't know if Councilman Mark is still here, but he's a co-sponsor. It's a good set of bills to decriminalize some vending so that ICE can't go after folks with the aggression they have been, but also increase enforcement. So I would say encourage your council member to pass that. The third thing is the speed. I don't want to wait until 2026. And I made a friend earlier, Eileen, she had to leave. She lives down the block. She's very nervous about the noise. We should be doing this sooner and faster. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to stay in house. Anyone on Zoom, if you want to speak, you can put your hand up. We're going to stay in house. Next is Ivo CM Kovic, Chai Lo, HHCT Board, SG170. Okay. We use SG. Thank you. JBC11. Thank you. Then we'll start with you here.
Hello, my name is Eva. I've lived in Lower Manhattan most of my life, CB2 and 3 for the last 6 years, and I worked at the intersection of Broadway and Canal for many years up until recently. I'm here in strong support of the plan. I think it broadly doesn't go far enough. I'm disappointed to see no bicycle infrastructure on Canal. like going up to Grand is okay, but I don't understand why with 7 lanes, I would like to see a 2-way bike lane on Canal if it was up to me. And just a word on the vendors, since that seems to be coming up a lot. I mean, someone pointed out recently, NYPD is not a division of DOT, so I think we need a yes and approach here. We probably should be asking for more and better enforcement, but this plan is like roughly good, and we should do that and enforcement. I think both those things would be additive, and there's no reason to be saying one or the other. Like, let's just do both. I think that's well within our grasp here. And then the last thing I'd say is on the Walker Street closure. I mean, like, I liked it. I walked by. It seemed great. I would probably like to see a lot more street closures that are kind of like these weird, you know, places where cars are kind of like inserting themselves into what would obviously be like a natural plaza. And I think, as someone said, on 14th Street, I used to live on 14th Street when I lived a little bit uptown. Like, people were really worried about that busway, and it happened, and it was great. And like, I'm extremely happy with that. And I think we would see similar things here if this plan were being followed. So, strongly in support. Thanks for your time.
My name is Howard. I lived around Chinatown for the past 7 years. I live north of Canal Street, south of Canal Street, east of Canal Street, and I go to Canal Street practically every day. I oppose the Canal Street redesign as it will affect hundreds of businesses on Canal Street. There are better solutions that have been mentioned here to improve pedestrian traffic and to narrow the Canal Street. This will only back up traffic all along Canal Street. There are more safety problems caused by motorized bikes, and if you build a bike lane, they will come. Thank you.
I've lived in Chinatown for over 60 years, and I oppose the redesign. There are very few crosstown streets in Lower Manhattan after the closures of Park Row and Duane Street. Canal, and then Worth and Chamber, and Worth is not a fully crosstown street. So it is a very dumb idea to narrow critical Chinatown commercial corridor. We are a city of over 8 million. We need vehicles to deliver people and goods to people in the city and to pick up garbage. So to eliminate vehicles doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, I oppose narrowing Canal Street. Emergency service vehicles will be severely impacted, as I see them now on Worth Street. Also, regarding the Manhattan Bridge accident, I saw 2 photos in the media of vans and cars that have crashed into the front of TD Bank, which is on the corner of Bowery and Canal Street. Why did the DOT not put bollards on the sidewalk where those accidents occurred? And if bollards were present around the triangle where those people were killed, they would still be alive today.
It is 8 o'clock, but with the number of speakers that we still have left, we're going to keep it still at 1.5 minutes because not as many folks have been joining us on Zoom. So you still have 1.5 minutes. The next 5 up are Carol Friedman, Vicky, Nichui, Henry C., Shane Wah, and Mo BB. If you could just say your name first, that would be helpful.
Sure. Carol Friedman. I lived on Grand Street between West Broadway and Worcester for 40 years. I vehemently opposed the Canal Street plans, but I'm going to concentrate on Grand Street. You say there's no room for bike lanes on Canal Street. There is really no room for an extra bike lane on Grand Street. Our sidewalk, our north sidewalk is 92 inches. That's 7.5 feet. So if there's someone with a baby carriage or wheelchair and someone walking next to them, what happens all weekend long is that the pedestrians on those very narrow sidewalks, they walk in the street. They walk in the street and it's dangerous. As it is, there's 1 lane of traffic on Grand Street. You guys tortured every merchant in Little Italy and Chinatown. They can't get their deliveries. They're all my friends. I know them for 40 years. You're torturing the storefronts and anyone who has deliveries. But most important, it's dangerous. Come down there. And look at how many pedestrians leave the narrow sidewalk to walk in the street. So you're gonna add more traffic. Traffic is a bicycle and traffic is a car. I care nothing more than safety. I got hit by a car, I flew 20 feet in the air, so I commend you for trying to work things out for our safety, but Grand Street is packed to the rafters and it's gonna create an unsafe situation. And my last thing is to not have a turn is going to, you think it might reduce traffic in Grand, it won't.
Next.
Chinatown, I've been here for 70 years plus. Chinatowns have existed in all the major cities, and they're always putting the community at the nexus of travel. Boston's Chinatown, New York's Chinatown, LA's Chinatown. And every time city decides to do something in Chinatown, where they close off East Broadway to build a little West Park, close Park Row, it cuts and kills the Chinatowns that exist. They did this to Boston's Chinatown, and you guys are trying to kill Chinatown, New York. When you start closing out the traffic, what happens? All the traffic goes on Worth. Now you want to redesign Chatham Square. You have to see the whole picture of where the flow of the traffic is. And when you start closing one and then you close another, Park Row used to take the north-south traffic. Canal Street, that is the #2 most heavily trafficked road in the United States. You gotta think bigger than what you're thinking, much bigger. Because Chinatown has been here for 150 years.
Don't kill Chinatown.
And don't kill Chinatown.
Yeah.
My name is David Malkins. I'm with the Bowery Alliance of Neighbors, and I would like to chime in and also mention the disastrous mega jail that is getting ready to descend upon Chinatown, unless something is done to stop it. And Park Row, I really think if the Department of Transportation wants to do its job, they should first deal with the issue of Park Row. It's an absolute disaster. I've listened and I've read several things by different groups, and it seems like, you know, your intentions are very good to try to deal with the problems of Canal Street. That's clear, but it seems like what's being proposed is creating a whole nother set of problems. And so I do not think that you are anywhere near the point at which you can move forward with a new plan. And you really should have on your team some of these articulate voices from the community, like Jan Lee and Sean Sweeney and other people that I could name, because they're the people that live here. And I think there's still a good ways to go, but thank you.
We're just going to call some folks that did not come up. Henry C. Henry Pettis. Xinhua.
Steve Martin made the time. He just gave it to me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I have Steve Martin please time? So, no, I just want something that I said before earlier.
Sir, you've already spoken. We can't do this. I'm sorry. Solar complexes. GT21 triple.
I'll go back 2 or 3 decades. I don't know what applies now. But, I was told that the parking was tax deductible. You were driving a car to town to work. And at that time, the subways.
Come closer to the microphone.
The public transportation was being subsidized. And that time, they're saying if you get a tax deduction for refusing to drive it, just drive the car, which didn't make any common sense. You understand what I said? I heard proposing to charge the delivery trucks, put them in a kiosk, and charge them, but that would be past $1. It's like an extra tax. I had to drive trucks on Canal Street. I'll never ride a bicycle there. It doesn't make common sense either. There's people in the way, cars and trucks everywhere. I have other ways I go on my bicycle to the west side. Thank you.
Thanks. Next.
My name is Rob Sakota. I'm a resident of Community Board 1. I used to work on the corner of Lafayette and White Street. I strongly support the redesign plan. If you've walked on Canal Street, you know it's too congested. It needs to be bigger, certainly east of Broadway. A number of people have brought up the fact that you can't do that without some change in the regulation of vendors, but I don't believe it's either or. It needs to be both to improve the pedestrian experience. Certainly, if you walked across Canal Street, you know it's dangerous. It's too long, there's too many cars, and they're going too fast. There needs to be the extended sidewalks and the extended intersections that the DOT has proposed. If I had one change, I'd say you should do it in more places. West Broadway, Varick could probably use hardened intersections as well. And thirdly, if you bike on Canal Street, you're probably taking your life in your hands. It's dangerous. I believe that the alternative on Grand is a great idea. It's the second best that it'll do. And finally, the only thing we shouldn't do is wait more or study more. We need to move now. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Triple Edwards, a community member, and staunchly against this terrible redesign. There's much to oppose about this redesign. We do not want to see curb extensions, sidewalk extensions, bike connections. If this sounds familiar, that's because this is a script that TA blasted to its legion of lobbyists to influence policy tonight. Albeit it's my version because I oppose it. This is their MO, and yet you decision makers know it. And yet those numbers use it to justify your plans. This online survey of yeses, that is so front-loaded by TA. And they do not live in Chinatown. And they do not live with Canal Street every single day. I'm a bike rider. My life is alternative transportation. But there's an awful lot of talk about bike lanes and TA influence when the redesign is only proposing 2 blocks on Canal Street. Personally, I avoid a corridor that connects 2 major entry points in and out of Manhattan. Safety improvements do have to be addressed, but any plan that takes away traffic lanes is the wrong plan. The solution is to clear the lanes, and that can be done without construction, but by cracking down on placard abuse parking and clogging the corridors and illegal vendors taking off the already super wide sidewalks. DOT needs to confront NYPD and not keep going around them at the expense of neighborhoods.
Okay, we're gonna go with Sheila.
I already spoke.
All right, thank you. Henry Penix. Yale as solar plexus at gmail.com. We have Yale at LF.
I have one person online with a hand up.
Okay. And then we have Hester at gmail.com. Come on up. Not all at once. Okay, who do we have online, Jen?
Yes, online.
John online.
John Stewart.
John Stewart.
I'm firmly opposed to this trans lifestyle. I am an avid cyclist. But let's call a spade. We have no bike lane left at all as it is. These are motorcycles. Sometimes they have pedals on the bike, but the chain is usually rusted out, and the pedals don't even really work. So first, we have to get everybody with helmets, and we have to have licensing, and we have to have insurance, and then we can discuss adding more bike lanes. As it is now, we have complete chaos in the bike lanes we already have, because there are no bicycles in the lanes. There's only what they call acoustic bikes, which are electric bikes. Electric bikes are not bicycles. So, and we are undermining, we're creating more congestion by undermining our own subway system with all these electric bikes. Now we have some subway is underutilized, and now we have the bikes all over the street. The city is making less money than they would if they had people using the subway system. As it is now, we can't think of more bikes. We have to think of how to get people wearing helmets and protecting the people that are all over the sidewalk, riding both directions from the land. We're going about it wrong. We got to control what we have first, then we can.
John, sorry, your time is up. Thank you very much. Okay, we're reaching the end of the list. If there's anyone in the room who wants to speak but haven't, come on up. Come on up.
No.
Oh, no. Again. All right, let's start over here. Please say your name and go ahead.
Leos, I'm a true son. I'm born and raised. I'd like to thank DOT for being here, all the community board members. I'm strongly supportive of the direction that this plan is taking. Today, Canal Street is one of the least pleasant, least safe corridors in Manhattan. Sidewalks are overcrowded, traffic is constant, and for anyone biking, it's genuinely dangerous. The redesigned street lighting, wider sidewalks, and safer crossings aren't just cosmetic. They're essential to making this corridor usable for the people who live, work, and move through it. I'm also encouraged to see bike lanes included in the western portion of the plan, but to fully realize the goals of this project, we need protecting and parting bike lanes from 6th Avenue all the way to the Manhattan Bridge. Anything less leaves a critical gap in one of the city's most dangerous biking segments. This is also an economic issue. Pedestrian and bike safety is good for business. People walking and biking are allowed to shop, eat, and return to the neighborhood. Cars passing through at high speed do not. Making Canal more walkable is quite literally a small business strategy. Finally, I want to commend DOT for proposing to move loading zones off the side streets. That change will reduce double parking, their congestion, and make the main corridor far more welcoming for pedestrians and businesses that depend on it. A bold redesign, one that centers people, not cars, will make Canal Street safer, calmer, and more economically vibrant. I urge DOT to take that final step and extend protected bike lanes across the entire corridor. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Austin Solstead, and one of the last times I went to Prime Museum. This is actually a project that I did for grad school last year. And we went around, we did surveys, stakeholder engagement, and there was one thing that was pretty common. We were sick of the surveys because they had already been surveyed to death. This has been ongoing since 2010. I was in 3rd grade in 2010. I have a master's now. It's 15 years. So the one thing I think everybody can agree on is that something needs to be done. We're complaining about, illegal vending, emergency vehicles. The situation is bad right now with the status quo. So something clearly needs to change. And we're talking a lot about congestion during the day and the off-ramp on the Manhattan Bridge. But we're not talking about what happens at night. Just last March, there was a man in his 30s that was killed in a hit and run at 5 a.m. by a speeding SUV. With a street that wide, it actively encourages speeding. And we're talking about super sidewalks. A super sidewalk is all well and good, but you have to make it harder if you're going to do it at all. Because at that point, it's just going to become more parking, illegal parking, which is a loss for everybody. There does need to be accommodations for loading and short-term parking. That is a very clear need. But there's also rampant placard abuse, especially on the east side. People are parking on the sidewalks, and the sidewalks are crammed as it is, with or without the vendors. So even if this plan is not perfect and needs a little bit of tweaking, we gotta do something now. Thank you.
We're gonna make sure that hold on. We're gonna make sure that everyone speaks before anyone else goes again. So let's let this gentleman go first. Thank you.
Thanks. My name is David Lawrence. I live on Grand Street. Thanks for this opportunity. I'm glad that we're addressing Canal Street. I've lived Street is a nightmare right now because none of the lights are synchronized. We have bumper-to-bumper traffic pretty much from West Broadway all the way over to Allen Street. And you now let down more traffic onto Grand. Grand and Canal are the only two streets that go all the way across. And Grand is one way for about 2/3 of it. So I'm also against the elimination of left-hand turns. I think you're asking for a lot of trouble there. And also terminating Walker Street at Canal is a huge mistake, I believe. You're cutting traffic down all over the place. We live in the oldest part of Manhattan. Everything below 14th Street, and particularly below Canal Street, was built for horse and buggies. And we have, unfortunately, the world outside of our island imposes itself on us every day. As inhabitants, we need to mitigate some of that. The pollution on Canal Street is incredibly excessive, and cutting 6 lanes down to 4 will only increase the pollution and the honking. My solution is that we need cameras on every single intersection, aggressively issuing tickets, and we need policemen on every controlling the traffic.
All right.
Sir?
We're going to go online first. We have a couple more.
Sir?
We're not having two speakers.
We have people online.
Yeah.
And you have spoken. I'm sorry.
What do we have online?
Victoria Wilson. And Darlene.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for letting me have. My name is Victoria Pilstrom. I live in a resident of Tribeca for over 80 years. This is the time where we live now. We're traffic back at the Hollywood for hours. And there are lonely streets. This is a matter of e-commerce versus commerce. I've done course things around the world. The question is, why would it make it easier to walk Canal at one point, walk beyond on the right vehicle, leaving retailers uninsurable? We've seen a very serious implications during the Times Square and Times Square, the e-bike lanes of Silver Street, that introduced fine retail theft to skyrocket, NYC cannot control 50 years. It's so dangerous, consequences for these users. It takes 30 minutes for the police to arrive. Now the police seek to obstruct the first precinct egress, the next criminals, it denies form of functions, while guilty threatens viewers of property in favor of tech. An unregulated industry that used to cater to share passion on the West Coast. I advise our luxury retailers to use their corporate entire at the seaport, understand this issue better than anyone. This is an area where we adopted.
Thank you, Victoria. Your time's up. Appreciate your comments. Thank you, Victoria. And we have Darlene Lutz. Darlene, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate the time. Good evening, my name is Darlene. I'm not from the Woods of Florida West. Is about just a month after. The issues of traffic are grown, as some of my neighbors who have already been on tonight have voiced. Things change, we will like that. The quite generational in the understanding of how the city works. Moving over and here too, the movement started in 1970 we're still here, and youth will be here as well. So, at the age, it was very, very hostile. It was very hostile, and it was hostile because we had uncontrolled, wonderful tours earlier in the city now. They're not according to the law and regulations. we know this. These designs on paper are not considered factors. So take it perspective. You want to build more, you want to build more, you want more high density, in Manhattan, low density.
Thank you, darling.
We have.
Your time is up, unfortunately. We appreciate it. Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Anyone else? Unfortunately, we can't allow people to go twice. We'll be here all night, back and forth. I'm sorry, we gotta stick to our rules. Sorry. Thank you.
Submit written testimony.
If you haven't spoken, we can't do that either. Yeah, you can speak yourself, but we're not sharing time here. We're not. We can't do that. Yeah, you can speak yourself, but we can't share time. Thank you. Not today, not today. I'm sorry, you've spoken already. We can't. I'm sorry. We have rules. We have to stick to them. Anyone else? Guys, gotta draw lots of
Just a.
Introduce yourself.
Okay, somebody new.
This will be the 4-minute.
Deliveries could be made perhaps in the middle of the night or something, maybe that would help. Or there could be special parking garages that people could go into. That needs to be part of the plan because delivery is a fact of life. You want to grow the businesses, and maybe they could somehow be organized in off hours.
Thank you. This is your chance, last chance. Okay.
Thank everybody.
I think we're done tonight. I want to thank everyone for coming who's still here. I want to thank the DOT for patiently sitting here, listening to a lot of these comments. And I just want to talk about next steps. Each community board is going to have its individual meeting. Community Board 1 is on December 3rd at 6:30 p.m. That's for the transportation. 6 p.m. for Community Board. That's the Transportation Committee. Community Board 2's Traffic and Transportation Committee will be Thursday, December 4th at 6:30. And Community Board 3's will be December 10th at 6:30. So we'll have representatives from the DOT will most likely be participating via Zoom. We'll get into the weeds on things. We'll answer specific questions. So you're welcome to go to your respective community board, and then we'll be getting each of the community boards will get out information about how to submit comments, additional comments online, for those of you who weren't able to make it tonight. Thank you, everyone, and everyone can take your trash